Anyway, there was another deal before we get to the main event of the evening or whatever we're coming up on. Jimmy Uso and Gunther. And this was another one where I was trying to fast forward through commercials, and the match was already in progress when I found it, and I didn't want to lose it again because I love Gunther. As I said, him, Drew McIntyre, two of my top five. He's unique today. I don't get tired of watching him, and he can make something out of anything. But they're doing, obviously, Gunther is going to defend the title against Jimmy's brother Jay. So they had a match, and then Gunther hit boom, a drop kick and a power bomb cover, 1, 2, and pulled him up. And then started taunting Jimmy and hit him with a big boot and hit him with a clothesline and cover, 1, 2, and pulled him up. And I haven't seen this deal done in a long time, and I haven't seen it done properly in even longer than that. But they did it here. Jimmy was selling and trying to pull himself up with the ropes. And Gunther grabs him with a sleeper and puts him out and wins the match and puts on the belt with his music playing. And then he goes back to Jimmy and puts the sleeper on him again and won't let go. And then here, Jay's music plays. And Jay hits the ring and they have a fucking fight. And Gunther takes off through the crowd. And then Jay goes to check on Jimmy. And that was a great deal. But when they go to the break, when they come back, they're showing Jay helping Jimmy out and, trying to recover from what happened previously. And here comes Gunther again and attacks him from behind. And security's trying to stop him. And he power bombs one of them on the stairs. And then he posts Jay and then gets a zip tie from one of the security guys who one of the announcers dropped in. Well, yeah, they're known to carry the zip ties. These fucking security guys didn't look like they were allowed to carry anything but plastic sporks. But he zip ties Jay to the rope and then beats the shit out of Jimmy while taunting Jay. And hit Jimmy with the title belt and taunted some more. And Jimmy came up bleeding. And then when they got kicked into it, Gunther just beat Jimmy bloody and choked him out right in front of Jay. And Jay couldn't reach. And Gunther was covered in Jimmy's blood. And that part was a great heat angle. But when Gunther got the zip ties out and then started the taunting, and I don't know whether he was waiting for Jimmy because Jimmy wasn't coming or what, but it took too long in the middle where Jay was zip tied and just trying to reach and pull, and Gunther was taunting. And even then, when he got a hold of Jimmy, the officials, the referees, the agents were around ringside. And one of the security guy already got power bombed, but there was people wearing suits and ties around ringside. If they weren't going to be trying in vain, frantically, to free Jay so that he could help Jimmy, then they should have all fed in and let Gunther chop the fuck out of him. Because with them standing around the ring, that part, when there was not a lot going on with the talent, again in the arena and even subliminally to the people in the television audience, the focus of their attention goes from, oh my God, look what he's doing to Jimmy in front of Jay, to, well, why don't those motherfuckers do something? They're just standing there. It took a little sharp off. It's like the thunderstorms when they don't come through at peak heating. They come through in the middle of the night when it's a cooler and it's taking a little bit of the fuel away. It takes a little bit of your fuel away in the presentation that you're trying to create without people frantically trying and failing, whether they're jumping up and Gunther's kicking them off and then going back to Jimmy, or whether they can't find anything that'll cut through that heavy plastic and they're sawing with something. There has to be an attempt. Do you see what I'm saying? This was great, but the pace should have been picked up and the middle tightened up. And because this is the kind of angle that they used to do to get fucking fans in the ring. And they really could have created some jeopardy there, but it was a little bit long and a little bit slow. Tell me what you think.
I thought it was a lot a bit long. to be honest with you.
Well, and in English next time?
Yeah, maybe. It took a while. It was a good angle. It's the best thing with Gunther in a little while. What do you think you're going to do at WrestleMania?
Oh, Jay's winning that belt.
You think Jey Uso's winning the world title?
Oh, yeah. Well, if not, then he'll be ready to have some sad singing and slow walking, as Troy Graham would say, and let him be laid out and have words spoken over him. The whole thing, they've made Jay look like a klutz. He slipped on a dive a couple weeks ago, so now they're doing the deal where he's lost his confidence. Gunther's in his head, or however they're phrasing it, and Gunther's beating his brother bloody in front of him. I mean, if he's not winning the belt at WrestleMania, then Jay has been significantly damaged as an attraction to me. However, if he does win the belt at WrestleMania, at this point, I don't know that it hurts Gunther. It might be time for Gunther to do something else, but he's kind of established at this point, and he always turns in a bravura performance, whereas Jay needs to win the big one because he's a lot of gimmick and a lot of flash and a lot of music and a lot of yeet and not a lot of, let me see 30 minutes of this guy wrestling hard.
Does it hurt him if he doesn't win?
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's the thing. It doesn't hurt Gunther, I don't think, badly. And at this point with him setting records, big deal if he loses, but it fucking kicks Jay in the balls if he loses, if he doesn't win that belt. So that would be unless they've said, well, maybe, Jay, you want to take a year off? Okay, we'll do this angle just like this, then Gunther will beat you. Thanks for coming. That's the only, otherwise he's winning.
What do you think of fans who are upset, and I kind of think it's a non-issue, but Jey Uso and Charlotte Flair win the Royal Rumble. Some fans think that it's not about getting your title match at WrestleMania, it's about getting the main event at WrestleMania, and obviously the main event for night 1 or night 2 is going to be Cody versus Cena, and then the three-way match with Roman, Punk, and Rollins. There's some fans who think Jey Uso and Charlotte got gypped out of being in the main event.
Well, as much as I even like Charlotte, no, sorry. That wasn't going to be the goddamn main event to begin with. To me, the tradition has been the main event is, at least for the last couple of years since they've had it, the main event should be for whatever world title, each night, and or last year they did the tag team thing. But no, Charlotte doesn't have an opponent right now, whether it be Rhea Ripley, my other favorite, or anybody else that would deserve main eventing over 3 or 4 of these matches. And so I can understand people being upset that it's not one world title the other night and the other world title the next night, because technically the world title match usually is the main event. But no, when you look at business, which is going to be a bigger attraction? CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, or Gunther versus Jey Uso? There's not a contest there. It's got to be the three-way. So that is the main event because it is the most anticipated match, the match that will create the most interest, sell the most tickets, or the most views or whatever for that particular night. And you can't argue with that. So then it just becomes, are you mad that, Jey Uso is not a strong enough challenger against Gunther to be the world champion and fucking main event the show? It's not my fault.
Would you want to close the show with a big yeet celebration? If you're going to do it, and you're going to have whatever, I don't know what ticket sales are, 45,000 people standing up doing the yeet, do you end the show with that kind of celebration?
I don't think it needs to end the show to get a massive, great feeling and a feel-good moment and all kinds of highlights and footage out of that. I don't think it has to be on last. And it depends on what they're doing because have we figured out nights yet? Because whatever night that the Jey Uso and Gunther match will be on, make them feel good, especially if the main event, what goes on after, might not make them feel good. They might not be happy about that. So at least, it just depends on what else is going on that particular show.